Welcome back to the Deep Dive. So today we're going to get into a concept that really sparks a lot of debate, doesn't it?
It definitely does.
It's the singularity, this hypothetical future where, well, artificial intelligence might actually surpass human intelligence.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah, in every way.
It's one of those terms that evokes, I don't know, both awe and maybe a bit of apprehension. Makes you really consider our place, in a world that machines are shaping more and more.
Absolutely. And it's interesting, the term itself, singularity, in this context, it was really popularized by the futurist Ray Kurzweil.
Ah, Kurzweil. Right.
Yeah. And at its heart, it's describing a point where technological change just becomes so incredibly fast, so profound that, well, human life as we know it is fundamentally irreversibly transformed.
Okay, so how? What's the mechanism there?
Well, the key idea, the real engine behind it, is something called recursive self-improvement in AI.
Recursive self-improvement.
Exactly. Think of it this way. An AI designs its own next version, right?
Yeah.
But smarter. And then that version designs an even smarter one, and so on.
Ah, I see. So each generation gets exponentially better.
Precisely. It leads to what proponents call an intelligence explosion, a really rapid sort of runaway increase in machine intelligence that just leaves human speeds way behind.
That's quite a concept,
Yeah.
that recursive loop. So when we talk about what the singularity might actually look like,
Yeah.
what kind of shifts are we anticipating based on the sources?
Our sources tend to cluster around three big ideas, generally.
Right.
First, there's superintelligence. This isn't just AI being faster at math, It's AI becoming vastly smarter than even the most brilliant human minds.
Across the board, like creativity, wisdom too.
That's the idea. Creativity, wisdom, social intelligence, potentially. Second, you get unprecedented technological advancement.
Driven by these super AIs.
Exactly, driving breakthroughs in medicine, energy, materials, science, you name it. Fields we can't even imagine yet, maybe.
Okay. And the third?
The third one is often transhumanism. This is the more sci-fi sounding part, perhaps. The potential for humans to merge with AI, enhance our own biological abilities, or maybe even achieve some form of digital immortality.
Right. Uploading consciousness and things like that.
Potentially, yeah. That's often part of the discussion.
So this brings us to the core tension,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which we definitely saw in the material. Is this singularity thing, just a really cool sci-fi story, a kind of modern myth, or is it actually inevitable?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the sources we looked at are really divided.
So on the inevitable side, what's the argument? What trends are people pointing to?
Well, proponents often bring up things like Moore's Law, that historical trend of computing power doubling roughly every couple of years. That's been a huge driver for decades.
Sure, the hardware gets faster and cheaper.
Right. And they combine that with the really rapid progress we're seeing in AI right now. Think about deep learning, natural language processing.
Like ChatGPT and those systems.
Exactly. AI is already showing it can outperform humans in specific, complex pattern recognition tasks, problem solving in certain domains. And some argue, well, this suggests general intelligence might be closer than we think.
Plus all the money pouring in, right?
Massive global investment in AI research. It just fuels the acceleration, or so the argument goes.
Okay, that sounds plausible. But what about the other side? The skepticism.
Equally strong points there, based on our sources. First off, critics jump on the definition of intelligence. Human intelligence is so much more than processing power, right?
Consciousness, creativity, emotions.
Common sense, that's a huge one. AI still really struggles with basic, intuitive understanding of the world, the common sense problem, they call it. An AI might solve complex equations, but not know that, water is wet or a dropped cup falls down.
Right. Stuff we just know.
Exactly.
Right.
Replicating that whole spectrum seems like a much, much harder problem than just scaling up current tech. And some researchers even talk about hitting a wall, a kind of valley of death for AI development.
Meaning more data and bigger models might not be enough.
Might not get us to true general AI. We might need entirely new scientific breakthroughs that we can't predict.
And then there's the alignment problem.
Oh, absolutely. Even if we could build superintelligence, making sure its goals align with ours, with human values, that's a monumental challenge nobody has definitively solved. A huge ethical and safety concern.
So putting it all together,
Yeah.
where does that leave us? Is there any kind of consensus?
Honestly, no, not really. If you look at leading AI researchers, the experts in the field, there's just no agreement on when the singularity might happen, or even if it will happen at all. It's still very much a subject of intense debate.
Okay, so it's not a done deal,
Mm-hmm.
but This brings it back to you, listening right now. Why does this concept, the singularity, matter, even if it stays hypothetical for a while or forever?
Because it forces the issue, doesn't it?
Oh, so?
It compels us to grapple with the huge implications of the AI we're building today, right now, regardless of whether some ultimate singularity arrives.
That makes sense. We're already seeing impacts.
Exactly. And the sources really push us to ask those critical questions now. How do we make sure AI development is responsible, that it aligns with human well-being? How do we start adapting our societies, our economies, our jobs for these changes that are already underway?
It's not just future gazing. It's about managing the present.
Precisely.
So maybe the final thought for you, the listener, something to really chew on from all this is, what does it actually mean to be human? In an era where machines are getting smarter and smarter. And maybe more importantly, how can we together shape that future with some real foresight and hopefully some wisdom?
That's the challenge ahead.
Definitely something to think about. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.